As you know, here on the channel, we don't just stick around with scale 500, we do also like to branch out a little bit every now and then to see how are other scales doing, and today, well, we're doing so with scale 400 and a model that a certain scale 500 manufacturer still hasn't managed to do. And with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at a Boeing 757-300 of Condor. At the front of the box we have a graphic or a rendition of the aircraft itself. We have the Condor branding. Then here at the side it does say look inside, so well, we will try to do that. We can open the box here and we get some lovely information about, well, the aircraft. We have more written information about the aircraft. If you want to know more about that, you can pause the video here. Then we of course also can see that by opening the box like that, we reveal a cutout, so we do get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside as well. Then on the back side of the box we have yet another rendition of the aircraft, and Gemini Jets is very self-confident with their models, which means they are not holding back with a lot of buzzwords on their boxes. They have, for example, the "as real as it gets" trademarked. We can see they say this is highly collectible, superior quality, realistic metal landing gear, detail printed graphics, and again the "as real as it gets" trademark features. So, as I said, Gemini Jets is very self-confident here. And that is something I do like, but when you are that confident, you need to back it up. So do they? Well, we'll find out. And here she is, the Boeing 757-300 in one of the current new standard liveries of Condor. The airline has, of course, introduced this look of livery, but of course using different colors on various aircraft. In this case, we have a blue standard livery of Condor on the 757-300, of course, a fairly rare bird nowadays, and they won't be flying much longer for Condor. I believe they will be phased out next year, so 2025. So I think it's the perfect time to take a look at such a model before it is gone and see what it actually offers collectors. And we start our tour around the aircraft model with a look at the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer have the Condor branding incorporated into these white and blue lines. We do also have some detailing on the horizontal stabilizer, that's quite nice. When we then look on the fuselage, we can see we do have the full registration code of the aircraft. We have the flag of Germany. We have some lovely details in the cabin door. We do unfortunately also in the blue lines have some slight overlapping print here. However, this is really something you only see when you get this close with your camera. The naked eye barely notices it at all. And of course, towards the very tail of the aircraft, we do have a bit of detailing around the APU exhaust. If we then move to the front of the aircraft, we can again see across the fuselage the writing of Condor. We do, of course, also next to the front cabin door have the Condor logo. And then we have a plethora of small markings, hatches, static ports, sensors, you name it, we've got it. So that actually looks really quite nice. Also, the cockpit section is nothing to be ashamed of, as we find quite a bit of detailing here. Of course, we have the cockpit windows with the metallic edges, we have the window wipers, but also hidden in the blue line we actually find some pitot tubes, and we have the circular marking around the radome. So really quite a lovely job overall with the amount of details here from Gemini Jets. Moving on to the engine nacelles, they have been kept in all white, just as at least half of the fuselage, but we do have the silver leading edge printed on, as well as a plethora of details here again. That looks really lovely. We have some safety markings, we have the Condor branding, and as I said, even more small details here printed on. Also, the physical detailing of these engines is actually quite alright, I would say, especially also here from the front, very nice. You can see the engine fan blades. On the fuselage just above the wing, we then find the emergency exits have been printed on. That leads us straight to the wings themselves, which you should also take a closer look at, starting off with the top side, where we have the different flaps, slats and spoilers carved out, however slightly drowned away by the grey base paint. But we do have different shades of grey for additional detailing. We have the markings on the wing as to where to walk on them, and of course also the markings wings for the emergency exit. In terms of physical detailing, I think we get more for our money when we look at the underside of the wings. And then the 757 has also been retrofitted with winglets, so here we can also once more find the Condor color scheme. A highlight for me on the wings is the fact that we do have the landing lights printed on, but I will return to the wings a little bit later in the video. For now, we take a look at the landing gear. That is of course made entirely out of metal, except for the wheels themselves. They are made out of plastic. While the landing gear overall doesn't look terrible, I just don't think it looks as sharp as we see with other Scale 400 manufacturers. This is a grievance I've had with other Gemini Jets models so far as well. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan when it comes to the Gemini Jets landing gear, but I do like that they have added printed details. And for those who really do like this feature, you can see the wheels do also roll, although not as smooth as with other Scale 400 models that I have reviewed in the past. Then in terms of printed details, where we find more on the belly of the aircraft related to the landing gear, but also other details. We do also have a hole in the fuselage, unfortunately for a stand that is not included with this aircraft model. And then returning to the wings, well, look at these gaps. And that makes me believe that we actually have a very old mold here, because with new aircraft models, the wings are basically individually slotted in from the side. Here we have both wings as one solid piece and then added or mounted into the fuselage from underneath. And while this is a perfectly fine way to do it, it just doesn't give you the same nice look as with more modern ways or more modern approach of adding the wings into the fuselage. So I'm not quite happy with this. I think Gemini Jets should refurbish their 757 mold. But where they do excel then again is when we look on top of the fuselage, where we have a plethora again of printed details, but also physical details in terms of at least one antenna. And then last but not least, we do of course also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here at the back of the aircraft. And also here, maybe a little bit difficult to see, but it is there at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Boeing 757-300 in the current blue standard livery of Condor from Gemini Jets in scale 1 to 400. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Now, before I make it sound like I don't like this aircraft model, I just want to stress out that I actually think this is overall not a bad scale 400 aircraft model. I just think that it could perform a little bit better. There are a few things that I think are not quite as they should be. One of the major things I don't think are as they should be is actually the blue color. I think Gemini Jets hasn't quite managed to replicate the blue tone correctly. I think it is a little bit too bright on the aircraft model. I have some images of 757 in real life, and well, the blue is quite a bit darker there. Of course, it also depends on light conditions and so on, but also from my experience in general with the blue Condor aircraft, I think Gemini Jets is a bit too bright. In general terms, when we speak print quality, I think Gemini Jets is also not quite performing as well as other scale 400 manufacturers. Now, it's not a bad print we have here on the aircraft model. We have a plethora of details. That's really great, but I just don't think that the overall print is as sharp as we would see with, for example, NG models or JC Wings. And not being quite as sharp as others is actually also something I would say is relevant for the physical detailing, especially with the landing gear. It's, again, not bad, it's just not as sharp as with others, and it is a little bit disappointing that the mold is as old and we have the issue with the wings. That is something Gemini Jets most definitely should be changing. So, they had all these bold statements. Highly collectible. Well, I guess they could be. Superior quality? I wouldn't say. Realistic metal landing gear? Others do it better. Detailed printed graphics? Sure, but also again, done better by others. And then we have the as real as it gets features, which I couldn't point out if it hit me in the face. So, I mean, again, it's not a bad scale 400 aircraft model, but I don't think that Gemini Jets lives up to the bold statements on their box, and that for me is a bit disappointing. But what do you think? Am I too harsh with Gemini Jets? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed it, feel free to leave a like. If you're new around here, why not hit subscribe? And with that, thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.